My predecessor called it the happiness business. We serve the 60,000 of the residents here in addition to 40 to 50,000 employees that work in Reston. So me being a part of the chamber and bringing all of these positive leisure and recreation programs to Reston is just a joy and a highlight of my career.
Audio Jungle.
Hello and welcome to Business Focus, produced by the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. My name is Angela and with Impact Business Solutions, and I'm privileged to be your host as we highlight the great work our local businesses are doing. Well, let me tell you, I am so excited for you to be here today. We have one of the most exciting shows of all year. So if you're not already subscribing, liking, and sharing what we're doing, please do that. We welcome you, and we look forward to hearing your feedback. We're trying to make 2026 an even better show. Any kind of feedback you have, we'd love to hear it. So why is today such an exciting show? This lovely lady right in front of me, Bebe Nguyen from the Reston Community Center, the executive director. Bebe, welcome to Business Focus.
I am so happy to be here, Angela, and thank you for inviting me. I can't wait to share with you everything that RCC is involved in.
Yes, so Bebe is the executive director. It's been just about a year now, but she's been with RCC for a number of years, and we'll talk about the history a little bit, and then we'll get into all the programming and all the wonderful things that I bet you this audience does not know about. And let me tell you, I have had open eyes over just this last year or so, learning more about what the community center brings to the community. I love your story of kind of how you came here. So why don't you share a little bit about that? And then we'll get into all the fun things that RCC is doing.
Well, where do I begin? So a little bit about my background. I've been with Fairfax County with Reston Community Center for 17 years. I had to go back and count because I can't believe it's been that long because I felt like it was just yesterday. But I love the question of how I end up here at RCC because it gives me an opportunity to share my humble beginning and how I came to the States in the 80s. I arrived at DCA in the 80s, and the first place that I founded that I, to this day, is grateful for was the Thomas Jefferson Community Center. And so I feel like the universe has really conspired for me to kind of do a full circle and now running one of the most dynamic and vibrant and unique institution in Reston, the Reston Community Center. So yeah, I am just really privileged and humbled. My predecessor called it the happiness business. We get to provide and execute programs all over Reston. We serve the 60,000 of the residents here in addition to 40 to 50,000 employees work in Reston. So me being a part of the chamber and bringing all of these positive leisure and recreation programs to Reston is just a joy and a highlight of my career.
Well, let me tell you, it's a natural flow for you. You mean you originally, I think you told me you had come from corporate. You worked at ExxonMobil for a bit, right? So you understand that corporate background. You got into the community center and now you're the executive director. Yes, Lila was at the community center for how many years?
41.
Oh. So there you go. So I'm going to say your first year in, so you got another 40 to go. You'll be
yes.
Fine. Being the last year here, what would you say? I don't know. Well, maybe even 17 years, not even just this last year. I mean, was there a point at which you're like, this is home for me. This is like a place that matters.
I get the privilege of really seeing how in the last, 15, 17 years, how this institution, we celebrated 45th anniversary just this past year. So the highlights has been to see the different generations that has come back with stories of how the Reston Community Center has really impacted and shaped their lives, as a youngster through aquatics, through, the different programs that they involved in. Young Actors Theater is one of our most, prized, programming that there are now parents and adults who have gone through those programs and coming back wanting to be either in an instructor's role or in a position to pay it forward. And so it's been just a phenomenal place to see those generational stories everywhere I go. Last week when I delivered the keynote at the Prospective Breakfast, there were, half a dozen of the audience members that came up to me and said how RCC programs have impacted their lives and their families. And so those are the moments that I think really makes me understand why RCC matters and the communities that we build and the generations that we've impacted. But when I look back on my time here, there are, moments that are electrifying that I can remember from having Jim Vance come and speak the day after Obama was inaugurated. The hope that, the community felt, it was just, you can't describe. You kind of just, I stood back in the back of that theater and just remembered those moments. But then a lot of those memories come in really quiet moments where, when I see a staff member, something clicks, they come up with a program and they discover the purpose and of why they're doing what they're doing. And so those are the micro moments that I cherish. And then bigger moments like Multicultural Festival, when we had over 5,000 festival goers experiencing a myriad of cultural performances that we brought to Town Center. And so it varies, but I have to say that's one of the most rewarding part of my job is I can see the tangible impact of RCCs and our staff and our board's work on full display any given day.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I said earlier, like I've learned so much about what the community center brings to the region and to the area specifically for the residents. And you mentioned the business community. So a lot of people that may not be familiar with what you guys do. So what might be something that you guys do behind the scenes that might surprise some of the folks that live and work here?
Wow, that's a really great question, Angela. I really think that people will be really genuinely be surprised at how forward thinking RCC really is and really how vast and interconnected we are with the business community, with the local government structure of Fairfax County, of all the different agencies that we support and all the community organizations that, we partner with to deliver on our mission. And I get this from new staff that joins RCC as well. What they really come to learn is that how vast of a network we have. We can't deliver any of our programs and be successful without that network and that ecosystem that has been cultivated here for decades. So
let's talk a little bit more about the ecosystem, because you talk about local government, which you guys are part of Fairfax County, get funded and supported by the county. There's the business community, obviously the Reston Chamber, and then our human services side, the cornerstones. You bring these worlds together. And that's something that I'm just learning about, how it all comes together. And you guys are at the center of that.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you bring that up. Over the years, what I've seen is that we're such a connector and a convener. We just are at the intersection of the residents, of the local agencies and human services structure of the county, as well as the Reston businesses, right? So we bring all of those, I call it the three-legged stools, together to make an impact in the community that we serve. When we go out to do any kind of programming or to listen, we rely on a very wide network of partners. I serve on the Chamber's board. I serve on Arts Fairfax board. I am just recently got involved with Public Art Reston, just to understand, because we have such a thriving arts community in Reston. So there's just the ability to be at the table and to have the conversation and to listen to what those communities' needs are, and then to bring it back and really execute and deliver on the programs that we hear. Has been such a heartwarming and a fulfilling part of my job.
Well, I appreciate what you do. And to that point, we talked about the number of folks that you serve, businesses and residents. How do you decide what programming to invest in and what initiatives they are? We talked about the types of programs that you provide, from multicultural to swimming lessons, right? So how do you decide? What's the framework for deciding what programming that you guys put forth? Because there's so many. Right?
I know. Everywhere I go, I tout that We provide over 2,000 programs and events in a span of a year, and we reach over 250,000
Huge.
people. I'm finalizing our annual report right now, and it's just always so overwhelming to see the number of lives and the number of people that we touch throughout the years with our programs. But at the core of your question of how we decide and prioritize what we invest in, we ask if those programs and those needs are at the macro level, do they fit with Reston's founding values? And that's one of the key things that I think, RCC shares and takes on a very deliberate and intentional approach is to make sure that we vet every decision we make through those values of accessibility, of inclusivity, innovation, and connectedness. And if any of those ideas strengthen any of those pillars, then we invest in them. But, it really comes down to a blend of the data and the dialogue that we have with the community and looking to see if there's alignment. We have data on participation trends. We know what are the trendy and the hot programs and things that people can't get enough of. We look at the amount of space that we have in order to accommodate those programs. We look at the demographic shifts of the Reston community. We look at, as I said earlier, the equity considerations to make sure that it's accessible to all. And then the changing landscape of Reston. I mean, anybody who drives into Reston knows that it's being changed. The whole landscape is changing every day. So try to keep up with all of those changes and making sure that our decisions are aligned with what the community needs are and be listening for anything that's coming our way and not be caught blindsided by them.
And that's why you're at the core of a lot of these conversations. I think you've said in the past, like just being present is so important to really understand the needs and to listen. And I had a conversation with Courtney Bolger, the new interim CEO for the chamber. And that's what she was saying. Hey, how are we going to maintain our presence? What can the community expect from the chamber in this coming year? And if you're not present, if you're not listening, if you're not asking those questions, then how do you know what programming to put on? So I think being at the core of that programming is key. And, you said it, there's so many programs that people are not aware. Like I believe, like I said, I've learned so much, and I'm sure most of the people watching have learned, wow, this is so much that the, RCC is putting on. If somebody hasn't done anything with RCC, what would be something that you would want them to like jump into? Like what would be one of the first things that you'd advise them to do?
I would encourage them to engage in taking in a show at the Lila Gordon Theater. I mean, the broad range of programs that we provide in the arts and aquatics and recreation, enrichment, and lifelong learning, it runs the gamut from infancy all the way to your 101, right?
Yeah.
But for like something that is easy and a very low pressure, but in high rewards that can easily connect you with that rest in spirit and, really feel the RCC being woven into the cultural heartbeat of Reston, I would say start with a performance, an outdoor concert, or one of our festivals, such as the one we just had at the Multicultural Festival about a month ago at Town Center. Get involved with our Thanksgiving food drive we're in the thick of it right now and collecting. And thanks to the chamber, we have a record-breaking number of businesses that have stepped up to be a drop-off point. So we have, I think, 40 different drop-off, places for people to donate. It doesn't have to be just food. It could be, toiletries, anything that, would relieve families. We know that the cost of food and everything has been skyrocketing. So people can
so many businesses have stepped up. It's so wonderful to
it's
see.
heartwarming to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, take part in anything that really speaks to you and be a part of, of the community, because I don't think you can really miss how this community can reward you with so much friendship and camaraderie and community spirit. And I think with the holidays coming, there's ample opportunities with Thanksgiving food drive. Or if you're in a business community, please look up Ethics Day. I mean, it is one of the most profoundly moving and impactful programs that the Chamber and Reston Community Center and a lot of other organizations come together to bring this for the benefit of the seniors at South Lakes High School. And so I just, would encourage anybody to, speak to one of us, right?
They'll be
Or
knocking on
just,
your door. Hey, give me a tour. And you
yeah,
encourage it. You welcome it. Come
I,
on
I
in.
do. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, the best way is just to walk into one of
Yeah.
our facilities. And if I'm here, which I'm here a lot, I am always up for giving people a quick tour of our state of the art pool, state of the art theater, our facilities, meeting spaces for businesses to hold, retreats or meetings at a very heavily subsidized rate. We know space is of important needs for a lot of small businesses, and we would love to be able to accommodate. So yeah, just come knocking on our door.
Tell them Ange sent you. And
Yes.
Phoebe's like, that podcast went over a little too well.
No, I love it. I love it.
No, it is wonderful. And you gave me a tour of the theater most recently, so I'm excited. And I just saw the booklet that came out of all the performances that are coming up at the Lila Gordon Theater, and I'll make sure that we scroll up all the information for people to learn more at, because the
Well,
website is very expansive too, so they can learn a lot, get some information. But like you said, just drop in. You guys have a number of facilities, but over there in Hunter's Woods is where Bebe sits in the back,
yes, that's
protected.
our flagship. And don't forget, our Lake Ann facility houses our art studio, our ceramic studio, and the Joanne Rose Gallery, which right now the exhibit in there is just is so beautiful. I mean, I miss being surrounded by that level of talent year round, because we have rotating exhibits every month. And so you never like walk in and see the same thing. So it changes out every month, and it's really stunning the amount of talent we have in Reston.
Yeah, that's another great facility. We've rented that out too. And then many of the organizations will rent out the community center, that, main space. And then you've got conference rooms and everything like that. So anyway, Bebe, thank you for being here. I've taken up enough of your time. It's wonderful to see your smiling face. Oh, and if you're not seeing Bebe over there in Hunter's Wood, she's going to be on the golf course. And so that's a whole nother conversation. I'll interview you next year when we do the. We had the honor of being on a team this past year. We didn't come in first, but man, we did pretty well. I'm not going to lie.
I think our competitive spirit comes out on the course, but we do have a lot of fun. So yeah,
Right, we do definitely competitive spirit, and we all each had like different strengths, so that worked out as well, right? So I think I contributed a couple of shots out of the day, but anyway, like you said, it was a lot of fun. Well, my dear, wonderful to see you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Angela.
My pleasure. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Stay in touch with us for future episodes. Like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.